Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Today is the most auspicious appearance day of Lord Varahadeva, a very extraordinary incarnation of the Lord in the form of a transcendental boar incarnation. I'll be reciting a verse from the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam contains a nice description of Lord Varahadeva's appearance and pastimes. The first canto, third chapter, entitled Krishna is the source of all incarnations. In this chapter, there is a description of the Varaha incarnation in the seventh verse. Dvitiyam tu bhavayasya rasatala gatam mahim uddharishyan upadatta yagnesha saukaram vapuhu. The meaning of this verse is, the supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices, Yagneshaha, accepted the incarnation of a boar, Saukaram Vapuhu, the second incarnation, Dvitiyam tu, and for the welfare of the earth, he lifted the earth from the nether regions of the universe. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains regarding this appearance of the Lord as a boar. The indication is that for each and every incarnation of the personality of Godhead, the particular function executed is also mentioned. So this verse says, why did the Lord appear as Varaha? To lift the earth from the lower regions of the universe. There cannot be any incarnation without a particular function. Every incarnation has got a very specific function. And such functions are always extraordinary. Lifting the entire earth planet out of the depths of the Garbhodaka ocean simply by lifting it on the snout. You can imagine how big the Varaha form of the Lord would have been, simply to support the earth between the two tusks on the snout and lift it effortlessly as a leela and place it back perfectly in the orbit. That's what the Lord did. So, such extraordinary activities are impossible for any living being to perform. This is very important. That nobody else can do it. No yogi, no jnani, no karmi, no devata, no asura, nobody can do it. The incarnation of the boar was to take the earth out of Pluto's region of filthy matter, the bottom of the universe. From there, the earth was to be lifted up. Picking up something from a filthy place is done by a boar, and the all-powerful personality of Godhead displayed this wonder to the asuras who had hidden the earth in such a filthy place. Particularly the asura by name Hiraṇyākṣa. He had hidden the earth in the filthy place, and the earth is the place of residence for the human beings and many other varieties of living entities. But at the beginning of this Manvantara, when the earth was to be populated, then the earth itself was in the bottom of the Garbhodaka ocean, the Garbha ocean. So to pick it up was required because the earth is the place of residence for so many living beings in different life forms. There is nothing impossible for the personality of Godhead. And although he played the part of a boar, by the devotees he is worshipped. Nobody worships a hog. But the Lord, when he appears in this particular form, he is always worshipable in all forms, because all forms are transcendental. We should never think that this form of the Lord as boar is similar to the boar form in this material world. No. The form of the Lord is always transcendental. It is very beautiful. It is very, very extraordinary. So devotees worship the Lord even in the form of boar. And the Lord is always staying in transcendence. He always remains in the spiritual platform. He never becomes affected by the material nature. He never is influenced by material nature. On the other hand, he is always the controller of material nature. And he remains the Supreme Lord under all circumstances, eternally, always, in any form he may appear. Just for the sake of his Leela, he assumes different forms. Then, in one more place, in the second canto, 7th chapter, which describes the scheduled incarnations, the first verse, spoken by Brahma, Yatrodhyata Shiti talodharanaya bibhrat Kraudim tanum sakala yajna mayim anantaha Antar maharnava upagatam adidaityam tam damstraya adrim iva vajradharo dadara. The meaning of this verse is, Lord Brahma is speaking, when the unlimitedly powerful Lord assumed the form of a boar as a pastime, just to lift the planet Earth, which was drowned in the great ocean of the universe called the Garbhodaka, the first demon, Hiraṇyākṣa, appeared, and the Lord pierced him with his tusk. This Hiraṇyākṣa had hidden the earth in the lower and the bottom of the Garbhodaka ocean. So the Lord came to lift this earth, and when Hiraṇyākṣa prevented the Lord from rescuing the earth, then there was a fight between the Lord Varaha, and Hiraṇyākṣa. And Hiraṇyākṣa was delivered simply by the Lord piercing with his tusk Hiraṇyākṣa's huge, powerful body. So in the purport to this verse, Srila Prabhupada says, since the beginning of creation, the demons and demigods, or the Vaishnavas, are always two classes of living beings to dominate the planets of the universe. The demons, asuras, and suras. Sura means the devatas. They are all Vaishnavas. They are all Vishnu Bhakta. Vishnu Bhakta Smruto Daiva. That is the definition. So, among the devatas, Lord Brahma is the first devata. And among the demons in this universe, Hiraṇyākṣa is the first demon in this universe. Brahma and Hiraṇyākṣa. The first devata and the first asura. Only under certain conditions do the planets float as weightless balls in the air. The planets are gigantic bodies. They float in the air only under specific conditions. And as soon as these conditions are disturbed, the planets may fall down in the Garbhodaka ocean, which covers half the universe. The universe is like a huge shell, and half the shell is covered by water called Garbhodaka ocean. And the planets are above, that is what is explained here, The other half is a spherical dome within which the innumerable planetary systems exist. The floating of the planets in the weightless air is due to the inner constitution of the globes, and the modernized drilling of the earth to exploit oil from within is a sort of disturbance by the modern demons. So much oil exploration is going on, so much oil is being is taken out of the earth. But then it does disturb the conditions under which the earth is floating in the atmosphere. So this disturbance by modern demons can result in a greatly harmful reaction to the floating condition of the earth. So it is not humanly possible, neither it is possible by any devata or anybody else other than the Supreme Lord, to maintain this balance of the earth remaining in the atmosphere above the Garbhodaka ocean, and the earth also moving in its orbit perfectly. That is facilitated by the Lord. A similar disturbance created formerly by the demons headed by Hiraṇyākṣa. Hiraṇyākṣa is described to be the great exploiter of the gold rush. That means Hiranya means gold. So he was interested in gold. Why? Because asuras want to enjoy unlimitedly sense gratification, and they require huge amounts of money for that. Therefore, this Hiraṇyākṣa was always after gold, and therefore he is called Hiraṇyākṣa, the exploiter of the gold rush. And the earth was detached from its weightless condition and fell down into the Garbhodaka ocean due to the mischief of this asura, Hiraṇyākṣa. The Lord, as maintainer of the whole creation of the material world, therefore assumed the gigantic form of a boar with a proportionate snout and picked up the earth from the water of the Garbhodaka. The Lord went inside the water and picked up the earth from the bottom of the Garbhodaka ocean. Sri Jayadev Goswami, the great Vaishnava poet, has sung as follows. Jayadev Goswami has written a song called Dashavatara Stotra. In that Dashavatara Stotra, the third verse describes the incarnation of the Lord as Varaha. Vasati dashana shikhare dharani tava lagna. Shashini kalanka kaleva nimagna. Keshavadrita shukara rupa jaya jagadisha hare. This is the third verse sung by Jayadev Goswami in glorification of Supreme Lord. Jayadev Goswami says, O Keshava, O Supreme Lord, who has assumed the form of a boar, O Lord, the planet Earth rested on your tusks, and it appeared like the moon engraved with spots. So here is a comparison. When the Lord lifted the earth, the earth was resting on his tusks. Then the Lord appeared very, very beautiful. Shashini kalanka kaleva nimagna. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada says, such is the symptom of an incarnation of the Lord. The incarnation of the Lord is not the concocted idea of fanciful men who create an incarnation out of imagination. The incarnation of the Lord appears under certain extraordinary circumstances, like the above mentioned occasion. Above mentioned occasion is when there was a need for the Lord to annihilate this demon Hiraṇyākṣa. Then the Lord appears as Varaha, and he kills this demon Hiraṇyākṣa. The incarnation performs a task which is not even imaginable by the tiny brain of mankind. We've all got brains, but it is beyond our comprehension how the Lord can appear in the form of a boar or Varaha, how he can perform so many pious activities. We cannot imagine what are the kind of activities he performs. Extraordinary. But for him, all activities are leela, pastimes. There is no exertion on his part because he is unlimitedly powerful. The modern creators of the many cheap incarnations may take note of the factual incarnation of God as the gigantic boar. So these modern people who think that they can concoct some idea about Varaha in their own way. No, that is not Varaha. Varaha is the specific form of the Lord who is incarnated in order to bless the people of this world. So that Varaha incarnation not simply appeared, but actually lifted the earth with a suitable snout to carry the planet Earth. He appeared. So this is the description of Lord Varaha lifting the earth in two different verses. Now it is also described here, when the Lord appeared to pick up the earth, the demon of the name Hiraṇyākṣa tried to create a disturbance in the methodical functions of the Lord, and therefore he was killed by being pierced. He was killed by being pierced by the tusk of Lord Varaha. Now, in the Bhagavatam 3rd canto, there is another description of the appearance of Varaha. Here in the 3rd canto, it is mentioned in the 14th chapter. It is described that the Lord appeared as Varaha for a specific purpose, to lift the earth. Now, how did the earth fall down into the water? So it is said here, two different reasons are given in this narration. The creator, Brahma, he thought, while I have been engaged in the process of creation, the earth has been inundated by deluge. Inundated means flooded. By what? A flood. There was a flood. And has gone down into the depths of the ocean. It's gone down to the depths of the ocean. What can we do who are engaged in this matter of creation? When a devata or a devotee has got a problem, naturally they turn towards the Supreme Lord Krishna for solving their problem. So similarly, Brahma is praying to Krishna. So he is telling, it is best to let the Almighty Lord direct us. Krishna is seated in our heart. He gives us knowledge. He gives remembrance. He gives forgetfulness. So, when he directs a devotee, it need not be that he has to only personally do that. No. He can do it personally because he is seated in everyone's heart. as Paramatma. But he also empowered somebody else to do this work. So, in accordance with the Lord's empowerment, certain devotees, certain great saintly persons, they perform extraordinary activities. So, when Brahma was thinking like this, suddenly a small form of boar came out of his nostril. The measurement of this creature which came out of the nostril of Brahma was as small as the upper portion of a thumb. Upper portion of a thumb. Very, very small. While Brahma was observing him, the boar became situated in the sky. Boar became situated in the sky. And the boar was appearing as gigantic as a great elephant. It is small when it was born, but it became big like a huge elephant. Now, struck with wonder at observing the wonderful boar-like form in the sky, Brahma, along with other Brahmanas like Marichi, as well as the Kumaras and Manu, began to argue in various ways. Now, Brahma is trying to argue that who is this who has come in the pretense of a boar? So Brahma says, is this some extraordinary entity come in the pretense of a boar? It is very wonderful that he has come from my nose. Sometimes the Asura try to play tricks. He somehow entered the body of a Devata, and as a result of this, the empowered person can do something which may appear to be like an extraordinary thing. But actually, even an empowered person cannot do anything extraordinary like God. That is not possible. So God only has to do it. So first of all, this boar was seen to be no bigger than the tip of the thumb, and within a moment he was as large as a stone. My mind is perturbed. Is he the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu? See, Brahma was actually praying to the Lord to how to lift the earth out of the Garbhorak ocean. And the Lord appeared in an extraordinary form like the boar. Therefore, immediately Brahma was not able to recognize, but he came to know that this could be Vishnu. So while Brahma was deliberating with his sons, the Supreme Lord, who appeared as the boar, in the form of a boar, that boar form of the Lord roared very loudly like a great mountain. Formerly there used to be mountains which used to fly and which used to roar. Now we don't have experience. But this was an extraordinary boar who is being described here, that he made a sound which echoed in all directions, and the inhabitants of Brahmaloka, or the next three lokas, Janaloka, Tapoloka, they all became alerted. They all became alerted, and it was very, very loud sound. So that is only possible for the Supreme Lord when he incarnates as a boar. When the great sages and thinkers who are residents of Janaloka, Tapoloka and Satyaloka heard the tumultuous voice of Lord Boar, which was the all-auspicious sound of the all-merciful Lord, they chanted auspicious chants from the three Vedas. See, this was the reaction of great sages who were living in upper planets, Janaloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka. They recognized this sound from the boar is no ordinary sound, transcendental sound. And because they are expert in the three Vedas, They chanted auspicious hymns from the three Vedas, to greet the Lord. And then the Lord in the form of a boar had come to rescue the earth from the Garbhodaka ocean, lift the earth. So the Lord went diving inside the earth and he went diving inside the Garbha ocean to pick up the earth. And before entering, he was flying in the sky, huge, gigantic boar flying in the sky. No boar of this material world can fly in the sky. That's not possible. But this boar is a form of the Lord. So he can do anything and everything because he is all powerful. So he was flying in the sky. He was slashing his tail. And his glance was very luminous. His eyes were very, 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 very bright, illuminating. And he scattered the clouds in the sky with his hooves and his glittering white tusks. The tusks which are coming out of the boar, this transcendental boar, Lord Varaha, was actually glittering white. So these are all transcendental symptoms, not material symptoms. Then Brahma continues to explain that he was personally the Supreme Lord Vishnu and was therefore transcendental. Yet, because he had the body of a hog, he searched after the earth by smell. So, therefore, the Supreme Lord appearing like a boar actually is the Supreme Lord Vishnu, who is always transcendental. But because he had appeared as a boar, he searched after the earth by smell, as if he requires to identify only using his sense of smelling. But this is just to bewilder the asuras. Devotees understand and they know the Lord can appear in any form required for his pastime. He comes to rescue the devotees. He comes to annihilate the demons, and he comes to re-establish religious principles. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrutam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So in the Bhagavad Gita this is explained. So the Lord appeared in this boar form just to actually protect the devotees who are always harassed by demons. So the Lord went diving into the giant mountain, into the water of the Garbha ocean, and the ocean water became as if divided into two high waves. And the ocean was praying to the Lord, "O Lord of all sacrifices, please do not cut me into two, kindly protect me." So the ocean was very afraid of the gigantic boar going diving inside the Garbha ocean. So the Lord, as the Varaha form, penetrated the water with his hooves, which are like sharp arrows, and found the limits of the ocean, although it was unlimited. This ocean Garbha ocean is very, 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 very huge. But still the Lord went down and found the bottom, and he saw the earth, the resting place of all living entities, lying as it was in the beginning of creation, and he personally lifted it. Very easily he did that by placing the earth on his tusks and got it out of water. Now, when he was coming out of the water, because this Hiraṇyākṣa had hidden the earth in the bottom of the universe, Hiraṇyākṣa tried to stop the Lord. Then there was a fight between the Supreme Lord in his boar incarnation and Hiraṇyākṣa. So the Lord killed Hiraṇyākṣa by piercing that demon's body with his tusk. And In this way, Hiraṇyākṣa was killed and the earth was placed in its proper orbit. So, then the sages, with great respect, they offered wonderful prayers, recognizing the Supreme Lord to be transcendental and also the enjoyer of all sacrifices, Yajñeshaha. This is very important. All yajnas are meant for satisfying the Supreme Lord, and He is the master of all yajnas, all sacrifices. He is a recipient of all the offerings in the sacrifice. And by doing such sacrifices, anyone who performs sacrifice is benefited personally by the Supreme Lord. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.